Yeah, welcome. We are just waiting for all of you to join. We'll be starting shortly. And please introduce yourself on the chat by writing on the chat. Once again, welcome to those who are just joining us. I could request you to introduce yourself on the screen, please. Write your name on the chat, through the chat. Your name, where you are from, and your workplace. Thank you. We'll be starting shortly through the program. All right, thank you all for joining us today. I think we are going to start now. Others will be joining us. I would like to sincerely welcome you to this session titled Enhanced Transparency Framework Review Process, Requirements and Benefits. So today, our focus is on enhancing understanding of all the participants in from the least developed countries on the Enhanced Transparency Framework review process. What is it? How can one become a reviewer? What's involved when you are an expert involved in the review process? And indeed, what are the benefits? So I warmly welcome you all to this session, and thank you very much for joining us. As you can see on the program, we are also joined by Mr. Libasse, who is here representing the chair of the LDCs, and he'll make the welcoming remarks on behalf of Ms. Madeline Sir, who is the chair of the LDCs. And then we're also going to have presentations from our dear colleagues from the UNFCCC Secretariat, from the Transparency Division, who are going to present issues to do with the technical expert review process, as well as on how one can become a reviewer through the roster of experts. So that's the essence of our meeting today, and I hope we are all going to engage productively, follow the presentation, and ask questions where necessary. But before we go straight into substantive issues in our agenda, I would like first to invite Fernanda Akobe from IID to tell us about the housekeeping rules. Fernanda, you have the floor.
Thank you, Yamikani. Just let me quickly share my screen. And yes, like just to let you know, welcome and thanks for joining us today. We have interpretation, French interpretation. So if you want to go to the different channels, you have a logo below, and then you can choose the channel you select the channel that you preference, and also you can mute the original audio just not to have a background noise. And simple things like we are recording this meeting that we will then share like in the LDC group media channel, and we will share with you also with the presentations after this meeting. And if you're going to talk and take the floor, please try to use a headset with built-in microphone to facilitate the interpretation. And finally, some reminders of the Zoom features, but I think that we are all very used to use this by now, like how to unmute your microphone, the video, and you can have the list of participants. We are going to use the chat a lot during this session. We are going, so you can ask questions in the chat and also introduce yourself. And finally, well, you also have reactions if you want to provide some feedback to the presenter. And finally, it would be nice to know who is in the room too. So if you can update your name, you need to go to the participants and then go select more and rename yourself if you want us to know your name and from where you're joining us. And I think that's all from my side. Thanks so much. Back to you, Yamikani.
Thank you very much, Fernanda, for the housekeeping rules. And that will help us to engage effectively. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Libasse, who is the chair of the National Committee on Climate Change in Senegal, who will do the welcoming remarks on behalf of the chair of the LDC group. Mr. Libasse, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamikani. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to welcome you to the second webinar on this series on the Enhanced Transparency Framework, focusing on the review process. The ETF is a new reporting framework under the Paris Agreement. This framework is, without a doubt, a cornerstone of our collective efforts to address climate change, to meet the global goals set forth in the Paris Agreement. The ETF, a commitment made by all parties, play a pivotal role in advancing transparency and accountability by providing information on progress toward national climate objectives. Operationalized by the modalities, procedures, and guidelines, MPGs, established in 2018, and the guidance agreed in Glasgow in 2021, the ETF comprises a comprehensive cycle. It commences with submission of the biennial transparency report, BTR, followed by a meticulous technical expert review of the BTR, and culminates in a facilitative multilateral consideration of progress, FMCP. The last webinar, held in early October, was aimed at providing an overview of the ETF reporting process and requirements. Today's webinar will be focused on the review process, explaining the process after countries submit their BTR. The ETF review process is an important part of the framework. It is an opportunity for countries to learn from each other and to share best practices. It is also an opportunity for experts to assess the consistency of countries' reporting with the ETF requirement and to identify areas of improvement. The review process is not merely a procedural exercise. It is a powerful instrument for building trust, ensuring the ETF is implemented in a fair and equitable way, and facilitating knowledge exchange among the countries. It can also help LDCs to identify our capacity building needs and to access the support we need to implement the ETF effectively. The first BTR submission in 2024 are on the horizon. It's coming. It will trigger the review process and the FMCP. While LDCs enjoy some flexibility in BTR submission dates, it is imperative for us to prepare early to ensure our progress informs the global process. Understanding the review process is critical, both at the national and individual levels, for engaging with review teams and participating as reviewers. It is important to remember that the ETF underscores the importance of including technical experts from LDCs in review teams, a goal that we need to actively work toward. I encourage all LDCs to raise awareness of the review process, and I encourage you and other experts in your countries to participate in the training program. Becoming an active reviewer can bring not only fresh knowledge and ideas at the national level, but also contribute significantly at the LDC group level, especially in negotiations on transparency, adaptation, loss and damage, and capacity building. I can add finance process. We have an engaging and insightful journey ahead of us today. I encourage each of you to actively participate, ask questions, and share your perspectives. Together, we can ensure that the ETF review process contributes significantly to our global climate goals and empowers LDCs on their path to sustainable and resilient future. Thank you for your participation today, as well as the UNFCCC Secretariat for their support, and I look forward to a productive session. These introductory remarks are on behalf of the LDC chair. I was committed by Madeleine to pronounce this speech on behalf of her, and I would like to thank her first, and before I thank all of you who are here, and I wish you a good webinar. Yamikani, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Libasse, for the wonderful welcoming remarks on behalf of the LDC chair. You have lightly explained the importance of the review process, and indeed, ETF is a backbone of the Paris Agreement. So once we submit the reports, they are subjected to the review process. That's why this session is there for us to understand who are the people who do that work and how can we become one. And really, we are grateful for your remarks and extend our gratitude to the LDC chair who delegated it to you. So straight away, I would like to invite you to the first presentation, which will be done by Ms. Ruta, who is the team leader in the MRV/ETF reporting and review subdivision in the UNFCCC. So her presentation will look at the technical expert review under the ETF and the facilitative matrix consideration of progress, the process and the benefits. So Ms. Ruta, you have the floor. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, colleagues. Thank you very much for the invitation. The Secretariat is always very happy to engage with all groups and to provide any support that we can so that we can advance all together towards the implementation of ETF. My name is Ruta Bubniene. I am a team lead for the Biannual Report National Communication Unit, which mostly deals with the developed countries transparency, as well as with the implementation of the future ETF. So I'm very happy to be here today with you and to talk about the technical expert review and FMCP under the enhanced transparency framework. As the colleagues already mentioned before, the architecture of the ETF consists of 3 steps: reporting, a review, and consideration. And today we will focus mostly on step 2, review, and step 3, consideration. The one thing that I would encourage you to take from this presentation at the end is that please start where you are. It is good enough where you are, and we will meet you there. In terms of reporting, we know and we hear from many parties that they hesitate to submit their reports, saying that they are not meeting yet all the reporting requirement. My encouragement will be to submit whatever you have, whatever you're able to do at this moment, and then let the process help you to improve during the time. For your information, we already have received first biannual transparency report from Andorra, which actually opens the door for the implementation of enhanced transparency framework. So my encouragement will be for you to follow the champions and also not to wait until the end of 2024, but submit as soon as you can, so that we can start the supportive process. Then talking about technical expert review, we need to remember that there are 4 areas that it aims for. First, it's to review consistency with the modalities and procedures and guidelines. Then to look at the implementation and achievement of the NDC. And then the third very important aspect is capacity building needs. And fourth, identification of improvements. While looking into capacity building needs, the team will identify those in discussion with the party, and in return, those needs identified and recorded in the report can serve as a good basis for further funding of addressing those needs. In terms of information reviewed, the expert reviewers would largely look at the greenhouse gas inventory and an information to track progress in implementing and achieving NDC. And that information includes mitigation actions, policies and measures, projections, use of the market-based instruments if you choose to use those. Therefore, through the review, you can get a lot of advice and support on how not only report this data and this information, but also how to gather the data needed for that information, and also how to calculate or assess those data that you have available. In terms of procedures and timelines, it's helpful to know that all in all, the review process would last about 12 months. And from the beginning till the end, the review will run for over 9 months. And LDCs and developing countries that need flexibility in the light of their capacity have certain flexibility provisions in terms of timing and also in terms of format of the review. So instead of the in-country review, parties may choose to undergo centralized review, and also there are more time giving to parties to respond to the questions of the reviewers. In terms of who is doing what during the review, I would like to highlight here the role of the party and the role of the lead reviewers. The expectation from the party as per the guidelines is that party will cooperate and provide information to the expert as needed. And also expectation is that the party will respond to questions of the team and provide clarifying information. You may know already that expert review team consists of 2 lead reviewers and technical experts. 2 lead reviewers, one coming from developing country, the other from developed country, will make sure that the review process is taken following all the mandated requirements, as well as will ensure quality and timeliness of the review. In terms of improvements that experts will identify during the review, it's helpful to note that there are improvements that party itself will identify, as well as the improvements that would expert identify, as well as those improvements will be linked with the or need for improvements would be linked to the capacity building needs. From our experience here at the Secretariat, we see in those 10 years of the measurement reporting verification systems, then we worked with both developed and developing countries, we see very significant improvement in reporting through the existing system, as well as we see improvement of the underlying institutional arrangements and institutional systems. In the end, I feel that the quality of reporting is mirror of the underlying administrative institutional arrangements, and review in any means helps to set not only reporting better, but also to improve the institutional arrangements. In terms of type of review, for BTR, we do have 4 types of that reviews. And here I would like to highlight the importance of the in-country review and benefit of that in-country visits. Again, from the experience what we have now, we see that in-country visits of technical experts is the most valuable exercise for the party. During the review, experts talk face-to-face to your national experts. And in talking face-to-face, you can really in-depth discuss how do you gather data, where are the data gaps, how you can possibly fill in the data gaps. You also look very detailed in the methodologies that you apply, and you can receive advice if those methodologies can be improved, or if maybe another more simple methodology can be applied. And you can really get a technical advice on how to do the reporting. and data gathering, taking the national circumstances and the national challenges. So all in all, it is a collaborative process where you meet at the technical level and have a very helpful and useful exchange of the technical information. Having said that, I really would like to highlight the helpfulness of the review. We not only see improved reporting and improved institutional arrangements, we also see the networks built across the globe. We see collaborations that have been born from the reviews. We also see examples then from current BUR technical analysis reports. The capacity building needs were looked at by the potential funders, and the funding raised from that technical analysis report. So my encouragement would be, I would like to echo the colleague who spoke before, encouragement would be to become a reviewer and to get that experience of the countries, not only countries' policies and measures and climate advancements, but also to get to know the culture and traditions of the country you will be reviewing. So all in all, being a reviewer not only gives you professional growth, but also gives you opportunity to bring that knowledge back home, and then in return to help your country to provide better reporting and to contribute to trust building on climate issues. On that, I would like to conclude on the technical expert review, and I have a few slides on facilitative multilateral consideration of progress, which I would suggest I present now, and then we can take questions and answers. So facilitative multilateral consideration of progress, FMCP, is a derivative from existing two processes, multilateral assessment and facilitative sharing of views. In large, those are very similar processes, which now would be considered together for both developed and developing countries. In terms of timeline, again, there are we do have basically two steps here what are important to note. First is the questions and answers step, where all parties will be given opportunity to ask questions to your party about the progress and about your report. And then there is the working session at the SBI, where the party will be presenting to all parties. And again, there will be a space for exchange and discussion. And third step afterwards, the Secretariat will make all information available publicly. Again, there is, for LDCs, there is a flexibility to participate in the process. Instead of individual participation, parties may choose to participate as a group. All in all, you may note that LDCs have flexibility for both review and consideration in terms of timing and in terms of format, and it's up to the party to choose if they would like to use this flexibility provision. And to conclude on FMCP, I would like to flag the role and benefits and importance of this process. In 10 years that we do have current consideration process, we see a lot of engagement by the parties in terms of questions and answers. We also see the benefit for the party to participate there. First of all, that is the opportunity and a channel to present the climate policy, to present and showcase the achievements, and also to flag the challenges. It's also opportunity to meet the peers and to learn from each other. All in all, in those 10 years that we observe is that the atmosphere in the room of the consideration is very collegial and friendly, and it is a discussion among friends. And finally, FMCP is also a possibility for political leadership to be more engaged and involved in the climate change policy making. And in many cases, it helps the national technical teams to promote their work and to become more visible and important in their own national circumstances, in their own national country. With that, I would like to end my presentation, flagging again that start where you are, and we, Secretariat, are always happy to support you as much as we can, and it is good enough. The situation you have now, it's good enough, and it's good enough to submit your BTR on time without waiting further improvements. And the system is designed in such a way that it will support your improvements in reporting as well as your improvements in institutional and administrative arrangements. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Ruta, for the wonderful presentation you have made, really explaining the review process, what elements will be reviewed under the ETF. And as you have presented, there's quite a lot of work needs to be done after 2024, as all the parties will be able to submit their first BTRs. So this work requires really people, experts, who could be dedicated enough to work with the Secretariat to achieve the purpose of the review. And you have rightly mentioned the benefits are so overwhelming at personal level as experts, at national level as well, from the countries which we work on, and indeed globally. So it's an interesting process for every one of us. But before we go to the question of answers, I'd like us to go straight into the next presentation, and then we'll have the questions asked together with the initial presentation we have made. But I also encourage the participants to even send their questions in the chat, and then we'll open up for question and answers after the last presentation from Pedro Torres. So let me now invite Pedro to present really on how one can become an expert to be involved in the technical expert reviews. Pedro, you have the floor.
Bonjour, good morning, everyone. Just want to confirm that you can see my screen and hear me.
Yes.
All right. So let me start by saying that the transparency framework is a pillar, a fundamental pillar of the Paris Agreement. And for the ETF to work, we need to conduct reviews. And for conducting reviews, we need experts, and we will need plenty of experts for the BTR reviews. So this will be the outline of my presentation. I will speak a bit what the technical expert reviews will do or have to do. My colleague Ruta already touched upon this. Then I'll also share the training courses that are offered by the Secretariat. And then I'll show the steps that you can take to become a reviewer. And then we follow up with the questions and answers. Already, we are conducting reviews under the current convention arrangements. And under the current arrangements, we need about 300 experts per year. For the reviews under the ETF, we expect that this number will duplicate. We will need 600 experts per year for the reviews under the ETF. And there's a very short time to increase the pool of experts that we will need for the reviews. So there will be opportunities for everyone to participate. My colleague already touched upon the tasks of the team of experts. So the team has to check the party submission and see the adherence to the modalities, procedures, and guidelines. The team will also have to check how the party is progressing towards meeting the national targets. The team will have to identify capacity building needs and to check areas of improvement for the party submission. So in general terms, this is what the teams are doing. And depending on the expertise, the teams will focus in different areas of the biennial transparency report. So it's not that one expert has to do the review of all the information submitted by the party, but rather each expert focus on a specific area. This is the package of trainings that are offered by the Secretariat. They started to become available recently. So the first course that became available, it's Overview Course A. This course is mandatory for everyone participating in reviews. Even if you are experienced expert and even if you have already participated in reviews under the convention, you still have to do this training course and you still have to do the examination. This course was made available in March 2023. More recently, the Secretariat launched the other packages of training. There is one training course for greenhouse gas inventories. There's another training course for tracking progress, and another one for support received and support needs. All these courses are available online for everyone. So you can go to the UNFCCC website and access these courses. Also, you don't have to take all these courses. Depending on your interest or on your area of expertise, you can choose to do one of these. So if you have expertise on greenhouse gas inventories, then the course for you would be the course B. If you are interested in checking the party progress towards their national targets, you can take course C. Or if you are interested in assessing the information, the support received by the party and the support needed by the party, then you can take course D. So you don't have to take all the courses. You can take the course depending on your interest and your expertise. There's a new course which is still under development, which is about reviewing information from adaptation. So this is not yet available. The Secretariat is still working on this new course. All courses, as I mentioned, are available online. They are self-paced, so there's no time limit for you to complete the course. There are exercises in the courses which will be helpful for you to then do the examinations. Going into more detail about these courses. So these different packages from course B, C, and D, they are further detailed. So even if you are interested in doing inventory training course, you don't have to have expertise in all sectors of the inventory. You can choose whether you want to be an expert on energy or in industrial processes, or in agriculture, LULUCF, or waste. So some people have only they only have expertise in one type, in one sector. Some other experts have expertise in more than one sector. So you can take the courses under the inventory depending on your expertise. For course C on tracking progress, you will have to take the course C1, which is about NDC description, and also C2, which is about tracking progress. So you have to take these two courses if you are interested in assessing information on progress of the party towards the target. And then, depending also on your expertise, you can choose either to take the course on sub-course on mitigation actions or on projections. So here there's also a choice depending on your expertise. And finally, there's the course on FTC, on the support received and support needed. All the information that I'm sharing with you today is available on the UNFCCC website. I'll share a QR code with you. And there's also information on specific courses that you need to take so that it's clear, and you will see that you will not have to take all the training courses. As I mentioned, the course A is the first one, the mandatory for everyone. It's already available. There is a QR code in the screen, and from there you can access additional information about this course. How you can download it, how you can access, and also the dates for examinations. We have already conducted several cycles of examinations for this particular course. We are now offering the 6th round of examinations for this course. It will take place between 16 and 22nd November. One information which is very important is that in order for you to access the examination, you first need to be nominated by the party. For access the training course and for starting your studies, you don't need to be nominated. But then if you want to take the examination, then you will need to be nominated by your party. And for information also, I'm sharing with you the entities that can nominate experts for the reviews. So this starts with the parties. So every party can nominate experts to the reviews, and this is normally done by the national focal points. A link to the list of national focal points is available on the screen. Also, it's possible that intergovernment organizations also can nominate experts for the reviews. And finally, some United Nations organizations and special agencies can also nominate. All the information are in the links there, so you can see who can nominate experts for the roster of experts. There are, in the screen, there are some couple of videos from experts which participate in reviews. They are inspiring videos. They share their experience and why is it beneficial to you to participate in reviews. So I will not play those videos. I encourage you to have a look after the webinar. I would like to say that if you are already involved in preparing submissions by parties, it's very important that you participate in reviews, because this will help you in improving your own submission of your own country. Also, you will be able, with your expertise, to help other countries, and this is very rewarding and very encouraging. So it's another benefit of being a reviewer. You will expand your network, your contacts, and you will learn new skills. You'll work with other people from different nationalities. You will travel around the world. So there's plenty benefits of participating in reviews. And this is my personal experience. I was working on the inventory of Portugal, and after I did reviews, I was able to improve the Portuguese inventory very much, and this was very helpful for the country, and also allowed me to develop my career, open new doors, and change my life. So, and also there's also other prominent individuals participating in the reviews. For example, the substitute chair is an expert. He participates in reviews. Also, lead negotiators on transparency issues, they are also experts participating in reviews. So I really encourage you to explore the idea of becoming a reviewer yourself. Here are the steps that you need to take to become a reviewer. First of all, you should try to get your nomination with your national focal point. There's a QR code in the screen. This provides you access to the roster platform. And there you can populate information about yourself. So you will do a self-nomination online. You'll provide your contact details, your expertise. There's a form for you to populate with all your information. And then you can submit this automatically through the platform to your national focal point. All the instructions are provided in the website. Once you are nominated, then you can take the examinations for the training courses that you choose to take. And once you have these examinations, you will be considered eligible for the reviews. And then the Secretariat can invite you to conduct reviews when we start to receive submissions. Already my colleague Ruta mentioned that one submission of the BTR was already submitted. So we will start the reviews soon after the submissions are received. Our plan is to start most of the reviews in 2025, early 2025. So there is time for you to prepare. There is time for you to take the necessary training courses. There is time for you to study and to do the examinations, and then you will be eligible for doing the reviews. This is a group in LinkedIn that we have. It's called Together for Transparency. This brings together experts from different backgrounds, from business, from youth. So I encourage you to be a member of this LinkedIn group. We already have more than 3,000 members. Some information on training courses, on events, are also shared here in the group. So you are welcome to join the family and be part of this group. And with that, I finished my presentation and I give the floor back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pedro, for the presentation. It was on point and awesome. Indeed, it highlights a lot on the processes involved and how can one become a reviewer. And to just also mention, I've also been part of this review process, and I benefit a lot in supporting in the negotiation process, and also supporting my country in the reporting aspect as well as the review. For instance, Malawi is expecting to undergo the FSV for the first BUR. We are hoping that at COP28 we will undergo the first BUR. We have undergone the technical analysis, and we have finished, and we are going into the final step of that. And it was helpful for us to do it in the first BUR because it has given us a very good experience as we prepare for the ETF process. So it's indeed a very important process. I now invite all colleagues here to raise their hand through a hand-raising function in the Zoom for questions. Of course, we also have some questions which have been provided in the chat, and some answers have been already also provided. But the first question to you, Pedro, was that would you please elaborate more on who will initiate the process of FMCP? Is it immediately after the party submits its BTR and being reviewed by technical expert review? So the question is, who initiate the facilitative matrix reconciliation of the progress? Is it the party itself or it's the Secretariat? So it can be answered by either you, Pedro, or Ruta. I think the questions goes to both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Maybe I can start here on FMCP. Yes, thank you very much for the question. Indeed, the modalities, procedures and guidelines specify that the trigger for FMCP is the publication of expert review report. And once that report is published, it triggers the FMCP. In case if party does not submit BTR 1 year after the due date, then the Secretariat will consult with party and will have arrangements for FMCP at their earliest opportunity. I hope that all parties will submit and all submissions will be reviewed within our set deadline, and we will have a successful FMCP. It is planned that the FMCP will be organized not per individual parties, but for a group of parties, while very similar it is done today, that there will be specific sessions at the SBI where each country will be taken one by one. You are right noticing that there is a flexibility for LDCs to undertake FMCP as a group of parties. In such a case, there are options that the presentations by the party will be still made party by party, but then the questions could be taken together for that group of parties. And of course, we can still look further in how to put this provision into operations in the future. And of course, I also feel that this establishment of FMCP process would also be learning by doing process, and we at the Secretariat will seek for the most helpful and most efficient way to organize that process. Thanks. Back to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ruta, for the explanation. I now see a hand from Mambo Tembo. You have the floor.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Mambo Tembo from Zambia. Good afternoon, the participants, and good afternoon, fellow participants, and indeed the conveners of this very important webinar. Like I shared in my chat column, I have expressed some concern that yes, I underwent some training, UNFCCC training, under their follow subsector, and I was certified and was looking forward to participating in these periodic reviews of biennial update reports by participating countries. Unfortunately, from 2021 hitherto, I've never received any invitation. And I've been wondering why, whether it's because I'm not coming from the public sector, since I've been working on my own as an individual consultant in the field of agriculture and forestry. So I would want probably a representative from the Secretariat to elucidate the process as to how really one would actually expect invitation. Could it be through the National Coordination Office for a respective party, in this case Zambia? Should I approach the National Coordination Office and solicit for invitation, or what? So I would need clarity and indeed direction on the matter. Otherwise, I'm certified as a follow expert under the convention. Thank you very much.
I think I can take that question.
Yeah, please proceed.
Yes. So there, for example, for inventory reviews, all the reviews that we have conducted for inventories, they are reviews under the Kyoto Protocol. And there are experts that have their expertise on greenhouse gas inventory sectors, but they have not completed the courses for the Kyoto Protocol reviews. So these ones could not be invited. However, now the Kyoto Protocol has finished, and this year was the first year that we have greenhouse gas inventory reviews only under the convention. So there was a huge effort from the Secretariat to bring in the experts that had training courses on inventory under the convention to participate for the first time in reviews. Of course, there's also the BUR technical analysis, and I think Mambo Tembo is talking about the training courses that he did for the BUR technical analysis. Here, there's also an effort from the Secretariat to invite new experts for the technical analysis. Of course, you don't need to be part of the public sector to be invited. This is not the case. However, when the Secretariat puts together the team of experts, they will have to attend some criteria. So, for example, they have to ensure that there is a balance between Annex 1 and non-Annex 1 experts. They also have to ensure there's a balance between gender and also geographical location. And very important, that has to be a balance between experienced experts and new experts. We cannot have teams only with new experts. So there is an effort that is being taken by the Secretariat to try to integrate new experts as much as possible. So although you have not yet been invited, and the reasons for that I just explained, but that does not mean that you will not be invited in the future. You don't need to approach anyone from any group from your party or contact your national focal point. If you are nominated and if you have the required examinations, then you are in the list of eligible experts and you will have an opportunity to be invited. I hope that that answered the question. Thank you.
Well, thank you so very much. We expect or anticipate the invitation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pedro, for the response. And indeed, as you have heard, Mambo, from the presentation that under the ETF, more experts will be needed. So I also encourage you to be active and also engage in the new trainings under the ETF, and that could also increase your chances of getting involved now, since the process now onwards will require more experts. I don't see any hands requesting for the floor or for a question. It seems we are all clear and we have understood the process of being a technical expert reviewer. And others are asking if they can have a link to the training sites. So maybe you can also share the link in this chat, Ruta or Pedro. You can also share the link in the chat to the sites of the training materials. And the presentations also will be shared to all the participants.
Yamikani, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A box. One is if they can also have the ETF guidelines, and another question if the BTR, if the review of the BTRs will begin in 2025 or not. I think that could be maybe clarified. Thanks.
Thank you. I invite Ruta to answer those questions on when the review of the BTR will start. Is it 2025?
Yes, thank you very much for a very valid question. The review of BTR shall start as soon as possible after the submission according to the MPGs. So whenever you will submit BTR 1, we will initiate the review process. So already now, when we received BTR 1 from Andorra, we are considering launching the BTR review process. The mass reviews we anticipate to actually launch and start in beginning of 2025, assuming that majority of the parties will submit by end of 24. So realistically, we plan to launch the reviews in March 2025. Again, having said that, those champion parties that submit before end of 24 will have an opportunity to be reviewed earlier, subject to availability of resources at the Secretariat and availability of the reporting and review tools. And I will be happy to put the MPGs into the chat box in a minute.
Thank you very much, Ruta, for the explanation. I think you have explained well about the timing as well as the possibility of sharing the contents. So we don't have any other hand at this point. meaning that we are reaching the end of the session. And indeed, I could now invite Libasse, if you are still around, to just close with some closing remarks.
Thank you, Yamikani, for giving me the floor. And I would like first to thank all the presenters. The presentations were very clear, very understandable. The languages were simple, accessible, and I think the fact that there are not many questions related to the technical aspect that you have very well explained in the presentation signify that these explanations were very well understood by the community. By the way, I also would like to thank all the participants in this webinar. They are all experts. At every level, we have a group of experts that are already very good in their expertise. And the question of Mambo, I think, give us an idea of this massive expertise that already exists, and that things will rely on them in the ETF. It is you have just maybe to wait some and until the PTRs get in the process, and for sure him and others, many others will be invited in that process. I am saying all this on behalf of Madeleine Doussard, who invited me to come on behalf of her to tell the opening words and assist to the webinar, as I did in the first webinar. I would like to thank her very much for her confidence on me and on all the expertise that exists inside the COMNAC, the National Climate Committee of Senegal. Some of them were in the participant group. And I would like to thank them also for the work they are doing inside Senegal. And I'm sure it is the same for the countries, inside the countries. And it's an opportunity to thank all of them, and also to thank the Secretariat, who support us actively in this process and since the beginning, and giving us the opportunity to elevate our expertise at any time, to be here, to be able to catch up with what is going on and connect on it, to be able to be a key person in the process. Last but not least, thank you, Yamikani, for this for conducting these webinars in a very well manner, and I thank all the organizers, Ruta, Fernanda, and also all of you who presented, Pedro, all of you. Thank you very much, and see you next for the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Libasse, for those remarks. Indeed, as we have heard here, the next steps for us is to now go straight, follow the link, register our expertise through the roster of experts, and then check our national focal point to really approve our profile. And then we undergo the training, and then we'll start being involved in the technical expert reviews. So in terms of the national focal points, you check in your country on who is the national focal point, but most of the times it is the departments or ministries which are responsible for climate change in your country. It's where most of the national focal points are coming, and others is from the national planning commissions. So you just check, and then you tell them, you request them to approve your profile. As for me, I'm happy to be in this process. I've joined, I think, 3 years ago. As also like Mr. Tembo, I've done the online reviews. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I haven't participated in a centralized review or in-country review, but I've just been invited to do the in-country review of one of the parties next year for the BR. So I hope that will be another experience for me to meet in person with other experts. But despite not meeting them in person, but the online reviews have been so productive as a person. I've engaged well and I've connected with fellow experts over the world. And I'm also able now to support my country and myself in the review process. So I would encourage you all to join this process. And indeed, it's very beneficial, as highlighted in the presentations made by Ruta and Pedro, and looking forward to engage with you further. And indeed, if you have any problems or challenges, feel free to consult the chair's office, the LDC chair's office, or directly to me as your coordinator for transparency for the LDCs. And we'll keep you updated for our next series of webinars where we continue unpacking the enhanced transparency framework on how LDCs can prepare for the first BTR, and also how LDC experts can actively engage in the process for the technical expert reviews. And once again, I join Libasse in thanking the Secretariat. They're always there for us. In the last webinar, they were there to do presentation. Here also, they have joined us, and we request your continued support as we engage in this process. Thank you very much. I wish you all a wonderful time. If it's morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are, enjoy the rest of the day and keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you from Zambia.
Thank you, Libasse.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Yamikani. Thank you. Kind words.
Thank you. Thank you so much for very nice webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Au revoir, merci.